Ryan, what was your highlight?
Well, and it didn't come from you this week, Doug, so don't be offended. But when Mark was talking about time, when Mark, and this wasn't even the top of our conversation, but when he was talking about time blocking, you know, I have my tasks that need to be performed that day, but I don't time block to the hour. And I was thinking that is definitely much more effective than what I'm doing here, because I am constantly, like Margot was speaking of yesterday, being torn in so many different directions throughout the day. And I think it would be really good for me to time block and then stick to it, you know, especially with the front-end sales in the morning.
Right.
And that's so hard to do. I want to jump in and get right in my pipeline, you know. That's just, it's so hard for me, I guess, for every LO not to do that.
You're not alone. It is, I mean, I just had a conversation with 2 LOs yesterday who came into the office. The same conversation is like, it just feels like time gets away from you. And I'll be honest with you, when you look at what we have to plan every single day, like, take a look at, I woke up this morning feeling like my day was going to be completely overwhelmed because I've got this call. I had 2 LOs here all morning, and then I had to go. I had to get ready for this call, and then I've got something at 3 o'clock, and then I've got something at 4 o'clock. And when I really get into my day and I look at my schedule, I really don't have a completely full day. Like, there's literally about an hour and a half to 2 hours throughout the course of the day that I have, like, literally nothing going on. And what ends up happening, though, is I think mentally, when we can't see it on a piece of paper, we can't visually see what we're doing, we tend to believe that we're way more busier than in reality. But if you time block and you work your best until the end of that time, I believe that you get a lot more done. It's no different than like when you guys plan a vacation. I can't tell you the last time that I didn't have a vacation that I wasn't the most productive a week and a half before that vacation. And then coming back, I'm the most productive a week and a half after coming back from vacation, because you're playing catch up and you know that you don't have a lot of time. And I go back to
what, work that way.
What's that?
I said you always have to work that way, and that's what I got that from Mark as well, is that I know time blocking, it's 101, but you drift away from it. And I think that's what coaching is it says, hey, let's go back to the basics, remember this, remember that. And
I don't mean to interrupt, guys, but Tony as well as Ryan are both asking for the Lincoln telephone number, Doug.
I just sent them out. I just sent it out to both of them.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep, thank you very much.
Hey, guys, this is Brian Heckman in Tampa. I got that link. I'm on the call here. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Oh, yo.
Yo. So what we're talking, hey, Kristen, good afternoon. Jameson's getting there. So what we're talking about right now, just before we get started, was time blocking and how valuable it is. We did a weekly coaching call on Wednesday with a few LOs, and one of the things that came out of it was the importance of time blocking. Brian, I know you're super busy and you've got a ton of stuff that you do and accomplish every day. Do you time block down to the minute?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much always have, and, I mean, I've always been pretty bad at it, to be honest with you. But even if you're bad at it, it still seems to work really, really well.
Just doing some type of organizing your time so that you know what you're scheduled to do every day is important.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Okay, so while we got everybody on the call, hey Margot, can you do me a favor? For those of you that don't have a computer screen open, can you guys, hey Margot, can you read what's on the screen?
Yes. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't.
You know who I thought of when I read this morning?
Dave Ramsey?
No, I thought of Ryan Miller. Oh, I did. I mean, if you implement what Ryan talked to us about in his goal of having his home paid off in 5 years, that's a pretty powerful statement, isn't it?
Yes.
And you would never be able to accomplish that unless you were able to work as hard as you did and generate the income that you said you want to. So that's the first person's name that I thought of when I pulled this quote up. So I love it. All right, guys. The first part of this call today, it is now 1:01, and with respect to everybody's time, let's just jump into the lead, your goal sheets. I'll go down the list. Hey, Mr. Hossinger, good afternoon, brother. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good, buddy. Very good. Hey, do you happen to know what your closing volume is going to be for 2016 January?
Yeah, I have it here. Hold on. Yeah, so I'm at 7. I'm at like 850 right now.
Okay, good job. More than you were targeting for the month. Fantastic, buddy. Congratulations. Mr. Miller, what about you, brother?
With the 4 that I have going next week, 995,000.
Woo!
995,000. Dude, that's fantastic news, brother. That's awesome. Congrats. Mr. Heckman, how about you, brother? Hey, Brian, you there, buddy?
Yeah, sorry, I had you on mute because I'm getting in my car. I think we have about 500. I think we have about 500,000 on the books. So we're really struggling rebuilding our pipeline. So.
Got it. Got it. Well, momentum, buddy. We talked about that earlier in the week, man. I know that February is going to look like a great month for you.
Yeah, we have a pretty solid, actually, handful of stuff going on for next month. So.
Great, great. Good afternoon, Kristen. Jameson, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. So what kind of volume you got for the month of January? What are you going to close?
Well, that's guaranteed to close is $1,970,262. But I have about 4 loans that are. Well, that's exact.
Is that down to the penny, or did you up like 10 cents either way?
No, I don't do pennies. We don't do loans in pennies.
I know. Fantastic. That's fantastic. Look at what you did in 2015, and look at what you did last year. Wow, that's amazing. What a great jump. Kristen Jones, I'm not sure if she's on the call yet or not. It doesn't look like it, okay?
Yeah,
Margo,
I'm here.
what about you? Oh, Kristen, good afternoon. Okay. So what do you have targeted to close in January?
1,184,800.
1,084,000?
184,000. 1.184.
Perfect. Margo, how about you, sweetie?
554,487.
Awesome. Scott Thompson is not going to be on the call. Is Les on the call? Lester, are you on the phone? No. Mr. Saramatis, good afternoon from Austin, Texas.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Very good, buddy. How about your volume for the month?
Hang on, let me get there. 1,582,522.
Man, I'm seeing a trend here, guys. I love it. Mr. Brown, Mr. Dave Brown from Fort Wayne, Indiana. How you doing, brother? Dave? Oh, he's here.
He sent you a text.
He sent me a text.
Or an instant message, I'm sorry.
He had
have two loans. Trying to call in now. 2 loans from now at 5 loans for 600. Okay, 600,000. I want to point something out. Do you guys look at Dave Brown's volume in last year, this year, versus this year?
Yeah.
Do you think Dave's mindset has changed?
He quadrupled his business.
Well, I mean, holy cow. Going from 184,000 in volume in January of last year to 600, I mean, think about if you were at $1 million and were to do that. That literally means that you'd be closing almost $4 million in volume in economies of scale. So congratulations, Dave. I love it. And that's it. I think Richard Riano, I don't know. Richard, are you on the call? Les? Nope. I think we got everybody else. All right, guys. I love seeing these numbers. Does anybody see a problem with posting these like this?
No, not at all.
No? Okay.
No.
So Aaron's above his bar. Ryan, you're above your bar. Brian, you're still building up your pipeline. Jameson knocked out your bar. Jones, right at your bar, pretty close. Loan off or so. Margo, above your bar, more than what you did last year. Everybody's doing more than they did last year, which to me is the greatest signal that you guys are right in the head with this. More importantly, you guys are on track to do what looks like to be your goal. And every month we're going to do this, and I want you guys to realize that. these calls that we're doing are really centered around something very, very simple, and that is for each of you guys to share one of the greatest strengths that your team does that makes you guys unique with everybody else so that we can learn from you, but also to openly share your struggles so that we can help you work through those, because the greatest asset of being on a team like this is being able to sit down and pick each other's brains. I don't want this call to be about me, so I'm going to let you guys kind of round table it off with each other, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. But in the meantime, I know that each of you has shared something personal with me, and I think that there's probably better and more helpful answers out there than just what I can give. So I'm like to turn it to you guys over. We'll share about 45 minutes to an hour of time here. So have at it.
So how do you guys manage your time?
We were just talking about that, Kristen. Ryan, you want to talk to
I came on late. I didn't come on late. I came on right on time.
Right. We were just killing a little bit a few minutes beforehand, and we were talking about time blocking. So I think Brian Heckman, Ryan Miller, Margot Hornblower, those guys would be probably really good to answer that question.
Yeah, Kristen, we were talking about the fact that it's one of those important things to be able to do what you need to do. The last 2 months I had a lot of production. I was all by myself. I know how you felt last year because I couldn't keep up. I was working long hours, and now all that's done. And
that hasn't changed, Margot. For me.
Well, I know, but for me it had. And what I noticed is that I don't get anywhere near as much done. And we were knocking around, talking about blocking time, and instead of just doing what pops into your mind, it's saying, okay, this is the hour that I call my A realtors, and that's all that's done. You don't take a phone call, you don't finish up approving a CD, certain things are done in those hours so that still gets done irregardless of how busy you get.
Does anybody have a template of a time block, like their color-coded time block that they could share?
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah, I do too.
Tony.
I'm sure I can find one to send over too.
I love you guys.
Hey, Kristen, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you always does it feel like you're always chasing time?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because I care about everybody else more than I care about myself.
Wow.
Yes.
Who else can relate to that? Who else can relate to that statement?
I can.
Yep.
I don't think there's a person on the call that can't. I think that's a blessing.
That's an easy way to burn out, though, sister.
Right?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I get in trouble every week because of it, but I get it. I don't know how to stop it, and I can't go to sleep if, I don't know, my file was blowing up the other night, so I had anxiety as I was trying to go to sleep, so I just got up and took care of them, and then I could sleep.
Right.
How do you get rid of caring too much? But I guess if that's the only thing that negative, well, I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about me, but that's one of the most negative things that people can say is that I care too much. I must be doing something okay.
Yep, you're ahead of the game.
Hey,
Darren,
I've got.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
That's all right. This is Tony. I wanted to share a conversation that I had with Doug offline a couple of weeks ago that really helped change my mindset. He was brutally honest. He said, "Look, are you a loan officer or are you a business owner?" He said, if you're a business owner, you have to detach from the loans. You have to care less about the individual loans.
Yeah, be emotionally involved and physically detached or something like that, or physically involved, emotionally detached, I think is what I've heard before.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was, for me, the only way for me to emotionally detach was to physically detach. Because what I found was that I was a lot more controlling than I thought I was. So I had to be very conscious about letting Bert, my loan partner, pick up the ball and run with it, and literally be hyper aware, like physically stop myself from getting involved if a problem came up, and just let him take care of it. And that's, you know, what's happened is I think I tracked it last week. I freed up almost 7 hours
In a week?
just by doing that for the week.
Nice.
Just by doing that. Now it wasn't easy. You know, you know how you feel. I don't know. I'm a little OCD when it comes to certain things.
Yep.
So when that compulsion comes up, I recognize it and take a deep breath, let it go, and say that's exactly why Bert is here.
I got this call to do.
Yep.
I don't know if that's helpful, but that was, you know, Doug calling me out was kind of the turning point, or what I recognize now is a turning point.
To speak a little bit more about that with you, Tony, it was really something that I went through when I decided to change my mindset when I was a loan officer and decided to open up a company. Because there was only so much time in the day, somebody had to lose my heart. Meaning my clients, when I'm a loan officer, got everything, but your employees and your team and the growth of your business and your family have to mean more to you than your individual loans. And you have to be okay with imperfection. You have to be okay with taking a swing at something and missing. My business, though I consider it to be successful, was never as successful as in my head I thought it could be, because I wanted it to be perfect. But I realized that every time that I messed up, it didn't stop my business from coming in. I always had business coming in regardless of how many mistakes that I made. And I realized that if I stopped caring about everything for everybody and wanting it more than anybody else, I never allowed anybody else to really see the value of what they meant to the team. Like, I never gave anybody else a chance to care for the team as much as I did. They simply just learned that I would care enough to fix it all, so they didn't have to invest themselves. And I think that's a powerful mindset that has to change in order to find more time in your life.
Yep, I agree. Mm-hmm. Hey, so this is Brian Heckman down in Tampa, and hey, it's my first time on the call and everything. Like Kristen, I love you to pieces, and you're freaking amazing. Like, my big thing is like not burning out, because I got to a point where like I was a very irritable person. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just telling you my story. And so my big thing is I'm always very, very conscious of not burning out, like with everybody I'm talking with, like with real estate agents, with other loan officers, stuff like that. And so like, I started taking Fridays off. So like it's pretty crazy because by detaching and what Doug just said about like letting other people step in, I've had really bad people, and so I've done that, and it really hasn't worked. I didn't have the guts to fire them. But now that I have people that are very willing and very capable, it's almost like, I mean, they literally do not want me in the office. Like one of the guys in the office is like, literally, if I want to go to the office to drop off these note cards that I want them to address and label and send out for me, but I literally, like, he's going to get pissed if I come in there, and they handle all of this stuff. So it's like, it's pretty amazing. Like, I did yoga at 9 o'clock until 10 o'clock, and I was like totally out of my comfort zone, not being in the office and obviously doing yoga. But like, it is really crazy to like disconnect and recharge your batteries. It's like totally possible.
Well said.
Right.
Well
I am leaving after this call today, though, and I'm going to go see a movie.
Good girl.
Giddy up.
Girl, good job.
I'm going to have like 187 people mad at me, but I don't care.
Hey, it's Aaron. Kristen, have you like started implementing Jungo at all for your team?
We have it implemented, and it is a beast, and it's working right now. We definitely need to do a lot more with it. And we did call your guy. It didn't quite work out with him, I guess.
Yeah, he got a new job.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like, I think, like, if you take the time to figure it out and to, like, have someone help you, because I'm sure there's someone on the call here who knows a lot more about, like, Salesforce than me, but it's, you know, since I know, like, you're like a perfectionist, and you probably do, like, 60% of your processor's job yourself or more. Like, if you set up the tasks to, like, automatically create, you know, then you don't have to worry about it, and you also don't have to worry about it getting done. And then, like, if it is late, you can see what isn't done yet. For me, it's been a life changer, like, because I know, like, when I came to SMP, like, I was coming from a place where I was working, like, 14 hours a day, and I was irritable, and, like, just like Brian was saying, but it's really helping, like, and I'm working on building my team, and that's sort of like my struggle is building my team. But, like, just creating tasks in the future and stuff for other people to do, and then you can even have them, like, save it so you can double check it before it gets sent out or whatever, like on an estimate or something. But at least you don't have to, then you're not doing everything, and then they're going to learn. And then, like, I was talking to Tammy last week, and she told me something that made so much sense for me. She's like, every time someone on your team, like, makes a little mistake and doesn't do it just like you would do it, you can't say something right away, because that's going to make them scared to, like, ever do anything on their own and take initiative. Like, when you see, like, little mistakes or little things that aren't, like, at the end of the day, aren't really a big deal, but it's not exactly how you would have done it, like, write those things down, and then, like, once a week have, like, a meeting with your team, and then just kind of go over and be like, hey, these are, like, some trends I'm noticing, like, I would do it this way. And then that way it's not like your people are, like, scared to make a mistake for you, and they'll start doing stuff on their own.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's good.
Mhm.
Oh my God. I just need to do it now.
Hey, this is Brian Heckman again in Tampa. Hey, and if it gets too windy, guys, let me know. I'm just, like, outside. Hey, so I talked to Doug about this, and I don't think there's, like, necessarily time in the call, but when we do the thing down in Fort Lauderdale, I would love if everybody would bring, like, their little scripts on what they use for rate shoppers, like how you take people off of rate when you get into that situation. So what I told Doug is, and specifically for me, I'm trying to train and instill my scripts and my DNA into my loan partner, and then we have, like, 2 other people that they don't talk rates because they're not licensed, but they're still, like, you know, moving towards that direction. And so I would love to have that, just like your scripts, your analogies of how you take people off of price. I think we kind of feel like there's 20% of people that are going to be in that realm, and statistically we win about 50% of them. I'm very, very good with, like, getting people off of that, so I still kind of get engaged with that conversation. They're usually the best borrowers from good realtor sources, healthy loan sizes. But I think that, I don't know, for me that would be really helpful to hear what everybody else says, and I'll certainly share what we say. So if that's something of value, that would I know it would help me a lot.
Hey, Margot, how do you handle your clients? I know that you get a lot of repeat business, and you do really, really well, and I don't think you've ever really complained about rate shoppers in your pipeline. Can you tell me a little bit about, or tell us a little bit about what you do that makes it kind of more, kind of helps you take people off that topic?
I tend to be the type of an loan officer or a mortgage planner, whatever you want to call it, that is more relational right from the get-go. So I try to build a relationship, and I've used a lot of, just this year, Doug gave me a couple ideas on a turn of a phrase and how to structure this first initial meeting that really sells that. And I've always resented rate shoppers. There's just something about me that makes me not even want to work with them when they say, oh, yeah, that's great. And you've told them all the things you can do and how you, and then they go, yeah, well, what's your rate? What's your rate? And so I tend to not, I got to admit there's probably in a whole year maybe 3 loans that were ever rate shoppers that I get down in the dirt to get the deal. The rest of them I just write off. And so it's something that one side of me wants to learn how to manage that a little bit better. And then the other side is just I get enough where that relationship has already been built that they will come back to me and say, well, Margot, I went to my credit union and they're a half a point lower than you are. How come? And then I can explain it to them. They'll show me what they got, and if it makes sense that I'm just too high in that market, then I use that to lower my price. I take the hit on that one in order to, keep that loyal customer. So it's mainly just building that relationship. Did that answer it?
Yeah, this is Brian again. Yeah, I mean, I think, and just to be clear, I think our rates are smoking. I think our pricing's smoking. I know my branch margin is set pretty consistent with everybody else. So that's my thing. I agree with you 100%. However, I think there's very simple things that help us in those situations. So my point is, if I'm going to potentially, and this is just my market, so like, and I do, last year I did like 56% conventional. So, which is kind of different. I've usually been 50-50. So I guess my thing is, when we come down there, I would just love to hear, in a nutshell, what's your little 2-minute spiel, from, and I don't know, Aaron, I don't know you, I don't really know Ryan, I don't know y'all's business, but I'm assuming that I'm not the only one doing conventional deals that gets the 740 plus borrower that's doing a $300,000 or $400,000 loan, 20% down, they can go anywhere. So in those moments, I would love to hear your little script of what you say and compare it to what we're doing, because I feel like we're very good at it. I think I just had a couple of big jumbo loans in the last couple of weeks that we lost, and I think we just had, the commodity-based people, and so I don't want to like focus or dial in on it. I just feel like, what do you say? Okay, great. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? And everyone can kind of like pick and choose. And if it doesn't help anybody, that's cool. I'll figure it out.
Hey, Brian, it's Aaron. Quick question: do you guys do the MCC program?
Yes, we did. But for a $300,000 or $400,000 person, they're not really in that.
It doesn't work. I'm smaller loan amounts. Most of mine are first-time home buyers, and that usually just seals the deal for me. But, yeah, I like your idea, dude. I like your idea about everyone bringing their script. So, sounds good.
Hey, Ryan Miller, I know that your average loan size is up there. It's actually, I think it's north of 2 1/4. You've got to be in that market where you're just constantly getting rate shopped to death.
Yeah, I definitely deal with a lot of rate shoppers here in South Florida. You have a lot of savvy business entrepreneurs. The way I have overcome that, and there's no way to overcome that perfectly. You're going to have people that shop you, and you're going to lose clients. That's just the bottom line. It's the nature of the business. But for me, it's not any one script that I have adopted in that scenario. But what I do is when I have that savvy client who's asking me about rate before we even take an app, I let them know that I'm gladly going to get to what the interest rate is. However, that is determined based on your debt to income ratio, the loan to value, your credit scores. There's many things that go into what your interest rate is going to be on a conventional loan. So I need to take an application, pull credit, gather some documents from you, and then I'll begin shopping this loan around with our 8 investors to find out the most competitive rate. And most of my business is referral, so I'll say to them, Tom Kester referred you to me, because not only do I offer, excellent customer service, but we have very, very aggressive pricing. So I think you're going to be impressed and pleased, by the time we get to that point. But there's a couple things we need to do before then. And normally by the time, you take an application, you gather documents and pull credit, I don't want to say you've locked in the client, but you've progressed to a point where you're going to lose very few, buyers at that time.
So it's about creating the relationship first.
Absolutely. I will never give, and I've done that. I've lost clients who just want a rate right off the bat, and I refuse to give a rate before we've done some things.
Yeah, me too.
That's awesome. Is there, and I'm going to bring this up to the entire group. I'd like for everybody just to take a minute and just kind of answer this question individually. What's the one thing about each of your businesses that you're the most proud of? Like right now, in 2016, everybody in January seems to be hitting their stride. Everybody's numbers are either at or above what they did and what they set the expectation for this year. But more importantly, you guys are all above what you said what you did actually close in January of 2015. I'd like to hear, and I'm sure everybody else would, what's the one nugget about your business that you'd be the most proud to share if somebody walked up to you and said, can you give me something that would improve my business in the next week? And we'll start with Aaron and just go down the list.
I'm getting so many more referrals from past clients just because I started marketing to my database and doing some videos. Like I've heard like Carl say that for like over a year, and I finally started doing it like 3 months ago, and it's making life so much better.
Hey Aaron, do you attribute that to Jungo, or what's your? I mean, is it the handwritten note cards?
Yeah, we're just doing like one handwritten note card. One handwritten note card per month, and then like if something comes up, like I'm starting to, like in my state we have a mortgage credit certificate, and it's like their tax forms are coming out in the mail this month. So like I made a video of me explaining like, hey, keep an eye out for your form, yada yada yada, it's coming, and I sent that out as like a text to everyone that I closed in that particular program, and like I got a huge response off of it. But I think it's just like it's as simple as just sending the cards out, really.
Yeah, I send out in January. I send out a copy of their settlement statement to everybody who closed in the last year, and this year I sent. I put a Powerball ticket in there too, and said that, something about being lucky, and, they're worth $1 million, no $1 billion, and, that I appreciated their business. And I sent a text out to everybody to say, heads up, I got this coming in the mail. It came in the mail, and I got a very, very good response. Normally, I don't get any response from them. People get it and just throw it in their tax. I got and I think it was the combination of, a $2 ticket and that text that kind of popped onto their, front burner. So great letters and emails that I can use for testimonials, and of course I reply back with asking for a referral.
Awesome. What about for you, Mr. Miller? Ryan, you there, buddy? Mr. Heckman, let's go with you, buddy. What's the one thing that you want to, what do you think is the biggest highlight of your business?
I don't really have to be there to do the loan tasks. Yeah, like I think I've got a real good, I think I'm really good at like the talent search part, like finding the right people now. I've screwed up enough. And so, I mean, I pulled like one credit report since I came aboard here in October and November, and then I kind of screwed up putting input into the system correctly, and so I don't really have to do that, so I'm kind of set up real nicely now to go just do what I do. Like, I just love talking with a real estate agent, knowing that exposing their pains is pretty much the same story over and over and over and over again. And I feel like we have real good processes and systems to deliver relief from all their pain. And so I mean, by far that's the thing I'm most proud of and most excited about is I don't deal with the fires and the phone calls and all that crap anymore.
I don't think I can overstate how important that statement is to everybody that's on this call. Besides Ryan, besides Brian, is there anybody else on this call right now that has the freedom and the flexibility and the detachment that Brian does? I didn't think so. I don't think I've spoken to anybody that doesn't. So if you guys think about it, I would really consider reaching out to Brian on a regular basis, or at least bringing up your concerns or questions to him right now. This is what this call is all about, is trying to figure out how to model a business. And Brian's process to get to this point was not easy. Margot, you and I talked about it this week.
You bet.
Hiring somebody is not your strong suit. Well, Brian, it wasn't his strong suit for a while, and he finally, as he refers to it, got an edge with his business and understands the value of what it means to have the right people on the right seat on the bus. And I think Brian would be able to educate all of us on processes and techniques that he's learned painfully on the right way to hire people.
Yeah, I've
got a two-part question.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Right.
I got a question for Brian. This is Tony.
Yeah. Yep.
Actually, two-parter. One is, what's your team set up right now? What's the structure of your team? And number two is, do you have I guess you'll answer this, but do you have a freedom caller? Do you?
Yeah.
Are you? Okay. Well, just run with that.
Yeah, got it. So yeah, just like I'm like rebuilding my pipeline right now after transitioning over to S&P, and then we just last year was just a tremendous year of transition for us with personnel. So really since like Halloween 2014, we pretty much the entire time we've been transitioning people, hiring, firing, all that stuff. But I closed 100 units last year at 20-something million, 21 or 20-point-something million. So just so you know, I've been at this spot before. I don't know, 3 years ago with S&P, where I didn't have to do anything and I wasn't closing any loans. And so it was like this cocky, I don't have to do anything, but at the same time, my pocket was really being impacted. And so it's a totally different go-round this time where, my pipeline sucks right now, but I'm I know they're literally slammed at the office with new pre-quals and stuff, so I'm really, I'm not worried at all about it. So from a standpoint of, the structure of the team or whatever, I have one licensed loan partner. She's a 19-year veteran. Obviously, she's licensed, so she does all the LO activities. So I have this picture that I have in my office of a train track, and it's just 2 tracks. And so I'm like a hot mess. I'm like a tornado. So I want to load up as many different things on everybody's plate and my plate and all that. And so at some point last year, somebody told me to slow down and figure it out. And so everybody just has 2 main tasks. So my loan partner, all she does is pre-qualify and pre-underwrite people. And then number 2 is when they get into contract, she basically gets them all set up, sells them a deal, locks it, discloses it, and all that. I have a processor that all she does is basically get the documents together and submit the loan, and then takes the loan from loan approval and gets all the conditions and all that crap, and then takes the entire deal all the way through explaining the closing disclosure to the client and the real estate agent. And then I have an ops manager who, he does all my stuff with Jungo. He's been doing all the Jungo stuff since last June, pretty much full time, really. And then he heads up this loan partner or loan assistant kind of thing. And he manages my personnel and all that. So his 2 main things are manage personnel and systems, and then number 2 is he manages the PQ pipeline and the actual pipeline. So he's doing less and less of the actual pipeline and more of like delegating the tasks to people through Jungo dashboards. And then we just brought aboard somebody, which clearly, right now we're overstaffed for what our production is in January here. But we just brought aboard another person that's a front-end entry-level person. We call them a loan concierge, but it's basically, receptionist, grab basic information, data enter stuff, chase around documents and all that. So, and then she's also, I don't have a dedicated Freedom Caller. I used to have one, and it just didn't work out for me. Like P&L-wise, it just didn't make sense for me. So the girl we just hired, we basically hired her to make about 3 hours of phone calls a day to schedule appointments for me. So I got a text from her like 10 o'clock this morning saying that she had already scheduled 2 appointments so far. So that's like in an hour and a half of work time on an initial list that I gave her for next week. So so that's kind of how it rolls out. And it's been a total nightmare hiring people and firing people. And like, I think that is like one of the biggest deceptions for all of us in our industry is that like we're like, for example, like Kristen, you're an amazing loan officer, but for most loan officers, we're not good at resume finding, at interviewing, at calling out their bull crap when they're sitting in front of us, lying to us about whatever, about training them, about hiring. I mean, it's the whole process we're not good at. So it's just, I don't think there's really, sadly, any way around it. Like, you just got to go through the process to learn it all. And then, like, the whole slow to hire, fast to fire, I think that's a misconception, too. It's fast to hire and fast to fire. There's no point, like, searching around. Just grab somebody, put them in the chair. Like, we're very open with people now. Hey, look, you got like a week or two, and you're going to find out if you like it here, and we're going to find out if you are a good fit for us. So if it doesn't work out, like, let's just be friends. But, I've bled for 6 months with people that were the wrong people, and we're not going to go that route again. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that, Ryan. Hey, Ryan, are you back? Mr. Miller? Nope, he's gone. What about Kristen Jameson? Jameson, the rock star. What do you got for us?
She's gone.
Is she already at the movie?
Yeah.
She may have already gone to the movie. What about, hey, Kristen Jones?
Oh, I was there. Sorry, I had my phone on mute and I was talking, thinking you guys could hear me.
Oh, no problem.
I just said never make a promise you can't keep.
Wow. Wow, that's really good. I like it. So how do you prevent that from happening? How do you not get caught up in caring about a client so much that you believe that you can make it happen?
Well, I put the fear of everybody. I mean, I don't care if you have an 850 credit score and $1 million in the bank. The loan processor is not easy for anybody.
Right.
That's really it. And I don't really have problems with rate shoppers, and I'll definitely go through my script when we're down there. I do a lot of government loans, but I've transitioned into a lot of big conventional loans lately. So.
What has been your secret to getting realtors?
I don't know. I know what I'm doing. I don't know that there's really much of a secret. Whether if you don't know what you're doing, you better have people in place that do.
Right.
Hey, can I ask a question about that? So, Kristen, we know that you know what you're doing. We know that you know what you're doing. You know that you know what you're doing. If you meet somebody new, the thing is most agents, when they meet a loan officer, the loan officer is going to talk about how they know what they're doing. So how do you, it's not just telling them that you know what you're doing. How do you really articulate that and then demonstrate it before they send you a deal? Or do you basically just say, hey, send me a deal and I'll prove it to you?
No, I have a little bit different story because I was in operations for so long. So it's an easy conversation for me to have. It's, hey, you can look at, I just became licensed less than 2 years ago. I'm not a salesperson. I was in mortgage operations for 13 years prior to coming in, so I know what deals can and cannot get done. I mean, now there's the weird ones, but really that was kind of my script at first. And over the last year, I think I save more deals than I actually get new deals from new agents. Does that make sense? Because agents talk amongst themselves, and they're always like, well, send that to Kristen. She'll fix it. and I do, but I've become known that in the community as far as I know what I'm doing, I get it done, and I don't care if you agents work for Keller Williams or Watson or where they work, they all talk. They all hang out at the same places. So, and then just asking them, do you know anybody that needs help that I can contact? Because loan officers are falling on their face all over right now.
Yeah.
So,
Really?
and that's kind of where I think we're ahead of the game is because, I mean, our closing department is awesome. I mean, trade has definitely caused a little bump in the industry, but we're not experiencing what every other company out there is experiencing right now. At least I don't think so. So I think it's time to capitalize on who everybody's weakness is.
Right on. Right on. Kristen Jones, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am.
All right. Kristen is just leaving her office. She was up here for 2 days with her team and literally is driving back to Indiana from Michigan, and I told her she needed to be on this call. So I appreciate your time, Kristen. Thank you.
Yeah, we're all on the road and listening, so it's been great.
Good, good. So what's the one nugget that what's the one part of your business that you're really most proud of that you feel like if somebody else picked up, it would actually help them improve their business?
Well, I think right now the thing I'm most excited about is the team that I have, and I have a very similar story to what Brian just mentioned. And last year it was just myself and one loan partner that just wasn't a really good fit, and I probably knew that in about April of last year, and I just let her go about 2 weeks ago. So talk about dragging the darn thing on forever, and you know how much bad energy it costed me, and that's one of the reasons, I think the main reason why my production last year was not where I had expected it to be. And I'm frustrated with myself as far as how long it took me to let her go. It took way too long for, you know, a lot of different reasons. And I'm actually reading the book right now, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read it, you must read it. And one of the biggest takeaways that they talk about is, I think the biggest difference between someone having success and failure is making decisions, making them quickly, and moving on. And I mean, I knew this in April, yet I just sat on the damn fence and, you know, loudly gagged around forever, and it cost me a ton of money, a ton of time, and a ton of emotion. So I'm with Brian now. I can't tell you. I have 2 old teammates that I've worked with in the past that are just absolutely amazing, and the 3 of us went up to corporate this week and had a ball. Oh, what? Are you there?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Someone just came on the phone. But anyway, the amount of synergy that we have right now is just night and day compared to what I went through last year. So I'm really excited about the team. I have a loan officer with me, and we're just going to have great camaraderie and have a lot of fun. And we have an awesome processor, and we're planning on adding another person to the team probably the beginning of March. So I think that team and that support and that consistency is so critical in order to do a lot of production, you know, month in and month out.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks, Kristen, very much. Margot, what about for you?
Hey, before Kristen jumps off, I just have to say that I went through getting rid of my assistant last year, and it took me all year. Finally, end of August, that's it, we're done. And immediately my production picked up. And I don't think it was because she was bad, but because I was unhappy. I was focusing too much on that instead of what I should. So I reiterate, third in line to say, get rid of them aggravations quickly. But my thing that I'd like to bring about my business is that it's staying in touch with your customers, your past customers, how important that is, because it's easy picking. They're there, they know you. Most of the time they like you, even on a bad, I've had really bad deals that go bad because of underwriting, because of this and that, but if you're in there and you're honest and you come across that you're really working hard for them, even if it's a really bumpy ride, they're very thankful and very willing to refer. You just have to reach out and ask for it.
How much of your business is past client business, Margot?
Over 50%. I think it was 56% or something like that last year.
That's awesome. Good job. Good job.
Wow.
Mr. Tuttle, welcome to the party.
Hey, thanks. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great.
Hey, you weren't on the call earlier, so I wanted to ask you a question before we ask you this, the one that we're talking about now. What's your closing volume for January?
For January, it's going to be just a little, right around 1 million. So.
1 million, okay. All right, so please, I don't know if you heard the question that we're asking, but you obviously have a team. You've got, I think, one loan officer and, well, 2 loan officers and Elise, and then you have Britton, correct?
Yes,
So tell me what's the one nugget that you feel like if you shared to to an LO or another branch that if they implemented it into their business, you would make them a little bit more successful?
Yeah. What I've concentrated on, in my discussions with you over the last 2 months, I decided to change everything we were doing here as far operationally, and we put some new systems in place, and actually in some cases we put some systems into place, and worked and trained on doing the loan application and doing the disclosing and how we're going to do that. We actually put systems together on that to where there's a process to where when it comes in, we know exactly what we're doing on that. I think I had done a poor job of that before, just assuming that everyone kind of knew how I wanted to do it instead of really getting in and saying this is the way I want it done. And so we spent a lot of time working on that. Right now that's really working well. Actually, in the last 2 months also, I finally got JuneGo going, and we're excited about that. I think probably to answer your question, the thing that I'm proudest of right now is it took 2 months, and to tell you the truth, there's still some other training that we're doing, but it's really taken 2 months for me to really have set the way I want things to work and to implement that. And right now I feel like I'm set up better than I have been in a long time as far as going out and doing what I need to do. And the system is in place, and I'm really proud of that right now. So.
Thank you, Les. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mr. Sharamatis, thank you for being
Thank
you for being so engaging today. I appreciate it. What do you got for us?
Well, I think what I'm most proud of. I don't know if I can draw a distinction between what I'm most proud of about my business, what I'm most proud of in terms of my individual growth, and how that's impacted the business. And I think what's happened over the last year or so, I've done I think a really good job of identifying what I'm good at and what I enjoy doing, and identifying what I'm not good at and what I don't like doing, and working toward just doing what I'm good at and what I enjoy. So I think my business, I guess specifically my business development, has been simplified. Yeah, I essentially do. Yeah.
I was going to say, just to be clear, so you've really identified what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And really focusing on what you're really, really good at, and letting somebody else be really, really good at what their strengths are, and maybe that is filling in the weak spots that you either A, don't want to be involved in, or B, just know that you're not that good at.
Right. Right.
Awesome. I love it.
So what that's allowed me to do is I believe I can look a realtor square in the eye and say, look, you could be an absolute fool to do business with anybody else. Mm-hmm. I believe it.
Awesome.
But it's not because I'm a great loan officer like Kristen. it's because I believe that if they work with me, that if they see me as a strategic business partner, then both of our businesses are going to grow as a result of our relationship.
Right. I love it. I love it.
And that the kind of the offshoot of that is that's really helped me identify or kind of build the ideal avatar for the realtors that I want to work with, and now I can identify the folks that I don't want to work with immediately, and I don't even worry about those people.
Oh wow! So you know really how you really know how to basically filter the realtors that are worthwhile versus the ones that aren't, not based on just production, but based on your ability to be attracted to them and them being attracted to you.
Yeah. So I worked with so this month there were 3 listing agents that I know production-wise are on track to close over $20 million, and 2 of them I won't call them outside of just the status updates, just because they're not a good fit. They're not a good fit for our for the vision that I have for this business, because they look at their loan officers as pack mules as opposed to business partners, and I'm not going to put myself in a position to work with people like that.
Yep.
Great. Awesome. Mr. Brown, good afternoon, buddy. Are you still there?
Hey, guys. Oh, yeah, I'm still here. How's everybody doing?
Good. Welcome to the party.
Hey, everybody, hey, thank you. I think for me, a couple of things I've written down. For me, probably the biggest thing was, I think I finally decided to take control of my business. And not only take control, but I just decided to show up and participate again. And a few of you that know me, have kind of heard me say this, but, we all have stories. We've all done, this or that, in the past. And I think I was finally able to put all that away and say, you know what, it doesn't shit anymore. And I just kind of decided to put my big boy pants on again and participate in the origination business again. And so, when I look at where I am today compared to last year, this is kind of interesting. Last year in January, I had 2 closings. Due to a couple of events that took place, one being 2 closings and the other 2 or 3 people in my office only closed 1 total deal. That we had a buyback loan, a first payment default. I found myself at the end of January of last year being in the hole with the company for about $24,000. And really just kind of looking at it and going, what in the heck am I doing? This is ridiculous. That wasn't enough, though, to shake me and get me to start participating. But then throughout the year, Doug, I ended up downsizing my office, getting rid of a couple of loan officers, and really just deciding to, when I say participate, be in the business, do it myself. And when now it's just myself. I hired an assistant. Today was her 90th day. I look at today versus last year. I was scheduled to have 6 purchases closed. My loan amounts aren't quite as big, so I was supposed to have 6 closings. 1 moved to April, so I'm only going to have 5 purchases closed for about $607 for the month. But they are all purchases, so that's, I've more than, I've tripled business from last January. I am neutral with the company right now. Actually, I'll probably have an ARO override, come February. Won't be big, but I also, with that, have added, a salary for my client coordinator, which is, I think, going to be great. She's doing a wonderful job. So I look at going from $24,000 in the hole last year to the company. I've now added an assistant. I'm now getting some AROs, and my assistant and I, we just completed her 90-day review today, really kind of defining what she's best at, what I want to do, and, really developing our going forward plan. So quite honestly, I haven't really done much, Doug, other than that, but I haven't started doing Thor's hammer. I haven't really started doing, probably 80% of the things that I plan on doing that will grow the business even more. But I kind of ended the year on a positive note. I was closing between 8 to 11 deals, the last quarter of the year, which is more than I every month, which is a heck of a lot more than I was doing throughout the rest of the year. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and once we start doing some Thor's hammer and actually working the phones and doing some things, I think we're going to see some exciting things happen up here.
You're the phoenix of the group, buddy.
Yes.
What's that?
You are totally the phoenix that rises up from the ashes. From the story you just told, buddy, I consider you to be the best resource for any of us that ever feel like they can't do it or aren't reaching their fullest potential, because you came from, I think, beneath your full. I mean, you were low. I mean, I don't think I could imagine a lower story starting in January of last year until where you're at today. That is an amazingly powerful testament to your mindset and your tenacity. So, man, if anybody on this call ever feels like they can't do it or feels like they're struggling, man, my first call is going to be to Dave. It really is.
It could.
Oh, buddy, that's fantastic news, man. Thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable.
You bet.
Awesome. Mr. Riano, are you here still?
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
North Carolina, Pottsville, right?
Yeah, it's Pittsboro.
Pittsboro, thank you.
Yep. Want to go back and add a quick tidbit, because I came from a world that was high refi for about an 8-year stretch, so wanted to throw in a bone for that. The rate shopper is always looking for information, and what I would do in that scenario would be to give them just that, enough information for them to not know which way to turn, but to come back to me to get the right information. Because it's interesting how when those folks have too much information, they tend to stop the conversation being about rate and more about the advisory role. So I typically would give the rate shopper 2 to 3 options between a costed, no costed, or discounted fee, to give them the option of being able to review that on their own and take their own analytics into it. And because of that additional information, other than just getting a quote out to them, I tended to win more of those deals. So that would be my little tidbit with regards to rate shopping.
Thank you.
And anything else, Doug? Let's see, going forward, I'm in Dave's boat. Been here about a year, came out of an ops-minded team, and have lived in that shadow for the last 12 months, and needed a swift kick in the rear to get the activities to turn from being ops-oriented into origination-oriented and sales-driven. I, for 8 years, was part of a team that was, I was the go-to underwriting solution guy for investors, to now I'm the front end port into the top of the funnel as opposed to being the back end of the funnel, and that's a very big different mindset for me. And the focus just has to be more on the top of the funnel and the activities that cause that funnel to get filled. And realizing that, the processing is not important, the production is, origination is where it's at, and there are folks who can do underwriting, processing, and not be the one that has to be the one that solves those problems. And that's just been a tough thing. That's been a tough thing, because when you have 8 years of having been the go-to guy to be the fireman for the problem, it's hard not to throw the hat on and run out the door when the alarm gets pulled. So it's just a learning curve in that regard to get over that hump.
So what are you most proud of right now with your business? What would be the one thing that you'd share with everybody that says, you know what, if I could teach you this, I'd make an impact in your business?
Be open to getting your butt kicked. And I mean that in a loving way. Having the courage to say, I need help, in the hand and go, hey, I'm not very good at this sales stuff. What do I need to do? And start picking up the tools, start picking up the the different things that, like Dave's mentioned, the Thor's hammer, any of the activities that suit well for the personality of who you are, and knowing that those things you can do well and having the courage to just stick to them, not lose focus, and apply them on a day in, day out basis to where you focus more on leads and less on loans.
Well, good deal. I love it. Hey, before we cut this off, because we're a little bit over the we're a little bit past 2 o'clock. Hey, Richard, what are you projecting to close in January?
I should come close right at 812.
812, fantastic. Good job, everybody.
Hey,
That's
Doug?
all I got, guys.
Hey,
Anybody
Doug?
else have anything they'd like to add?
Doug, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Les. I wanted to piggyback on that last statement that was made. I've been in the business long enough to be able to tell everyone that there are ups and downs and things happen, and it doesn't matter how much experience you have, things change and can change. And basically, this is to you, Doug. Thanks for what you do. I wanted to share with everyone to listen to Doug, because I mean, he's very good at what he does. I can tell you, in talking with him and going over some things with him, I mean, he helped me see that last year, basically, I made more calls to people I didn't know than the people I do know. And that's really made a big difference, and he helped me analyze that. And I'm just saying, I think we're real lucky to have Doug help us with this, and what was just said about, hey, be willing to listen, because, I mean, you know, the older you get, it's harder to do that, and I'm glad I did that too. Just wanted to add on to that.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you, Les. I appreciate that. That's it, guys. I have the replay. I'm going to send out a recording probably on Monday with the replay of today's call, and I'll do that every time we have one of these. In the meantime, everybody that's on this call, I believe, would be willing and more than capable of helping each and every one of us out with any questions or challenges. Please don't wait for this call to happen in order to get connected. You guys are all part of this Alpha program for a reason. I'm blessed to share, you know, an hour of my life with you guys and to listen to what you guys are going through and see if there's ways that we can all participate in each of our own successes. But from what I see for January, I'm very, very proud of the numbers. I think it bodes pretty well for what the rest of the year is going to look like. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys all next month. It'll be at or around the 15th, depending on where it falls in the month. Look for that email, and look forward to talking to you all between now and then.
Have a good month, everybody.
Take care, guys.
All right. Thanks, Doug.
All the best. See ya.